what does this do for Brooklyn now? Because they're still trying to go after Andre Drummond. I don't see that happening. But does Blake Griffin, I guess you could say, add another dimension, or is he at this point in his career just another guy for the Nets to add?
He's doing. The Nets are doing exactly what the Clippers did the last season.
Which is what?
Anybody they can get their hands on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's literally what the Clippers did. Add anybody they could to the roster, and it didn't turn out too good for them. They lost in 7 to the Nuggets. But I mean, at this point in Blake Griffin's career, he hasn't dunked a basketball in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's had a lot of injuries. He's primarily made himself a decent 3-point shooter at best. If you want to even say decent, he's shooting under 33% from the 3-point line.
Something like.
So, I mean, he might get. For them, they're in a good situation for the simple fact that if he does give them something good, if he does it, then, I mean, what are they losing out on? He has the vet minimum. You know what I mean? He's going to be their 4th or 5th option, if that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like he can make somewhat of an impact. It's going to be a minimal impact. I don't see him making a significant, huge-ass impact, but he might make something significant or small, minimal, but I don't see him, I mean, they were going to be in the finals without him regardless. So I don't see how much he's going to really do for them, honestly. It's been a couple years since he's been remotely close to even being an all-star or star caliber player. You know? So.
Yeah, I mean, Sean, it does add a guy who's been to the playoffs, who's had, I guess you could say, some success. You know, he knows what it takes to win, and if he does everything the right way and plays his position and plays his role, which is what the Nets have been doing, I mean, it adds a layer, but does this fit into that narrative that everyone's been throwing out on the internet and said, oh, we need all this to beat LeBron and AD?
I mean, it's one of those things that's a little bit of a tough situation because, I mean, even to Kane's point, you got a guy that hasn't really been on that superstar cliff, you know, and he's kind of been off of that at least for 2-3 years now, especially with after all the knee injuries and knee surgeries and whatnot. But he still is a player that adds depth to their front line. Yeah. Because they only really had DeAndre Jordan there. And then, you know, you got Jeff Green to play the small ball 4 or 5, you know, rookie behind him in Claxton. So I think Blake Griffin will definitely help when it comes to their depth. Offensively, he's probably only going to play about 10 minutes a game. You know, he's not, and it'll be a lot of really matchup dependent kind of, especially once you get to the playoffs. I don't think he's really going to play that much, but I think he'll have an impact, you know, offensively. Defensively, no. You know, but offensively, I think he'll have an impact. But I do agree that usually when Bron wins a ring, what follows the following season
and the podcast has begun.
A team usually will, you know, end up trying to stack up against him to beat him. Wait, that's not true?
So you say KD making another super team?
First of all,
wait, so Bron has never done the add everybody who's a free agency and amnesty. Then anybody I can get my hands on?
Amnesty,
Bron don't be doing that.
Hold on. Let me respond to that.
In the ever so glorious words of Kobe, amnesty that.
But see, here's the difference. Number one, we all know in the modern era, Celtics did it first. Number one. Number two, Bron did that as a retaliation and more of a response to, okay, what Boston did with KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen. We do understand that. Now, number three, what I bring up is KD. From KD's words, he was saying that he felt like he felt a little slighted at the time with Golden State because Steph was getting a lot of that credit for those other rings while KD was on the team. So what KD said he wanted to do was, I want to lead a team. Now, I'm not saying that he's not necessarily the leader on this team. But what I am saying is at this point, look like Harden the leader. KD not there still. But what I'm saying, But what I'm saying is that when it comes to KD, he said that.
That is true. He said it.
Now, granted, I thought he could do it with Kyrie. Even when he got Harden, I was like, okay.
You were saying that before they traded for Harden.
That's what I'm saying. So if he felt like I wanted to do it and have that credit, that's on him. At this point, he's not going to get that. How the team is constructed right now. Now, they better win. At this point, they better win. And it's been proven when Bron wins a ring, we know what fellow teams do. We've seen it. We've seen what they do.
Sir?
How can you deny that?
The floor is yours.
What teams do to beat him?
Oh, here we go.
First of all, list the examples.
Well, are we listening to examples of what happened when LeBron...
Yeah, you said it's proven. I mean, when there's other times that when he was on the ring, a team has done something crazy for him.
I think the main...
Wait, first of all...
Go ahead.
There's the examples.
First of all, the most recent example, when he won in 2016, where did KD go to? We even admitted KD and OKC at the time had a great opportunity to beat that Warriors team. And KD gave up on Russ and the team and left. Now, he left to a situation that could almost guarantee him a ring. But at the same time, Draymond seen what happened. Wait a minute, Bron beat us. Man, I got Clay. I got Steph with me.
Call him up in the parking lot. Call him in the parking lot. That's what everybody says happens.
So we're not going to act like teams don't see when that happens. LeBron's one of the only ones where when he wins, that usually does happen. And even in other examples, 2012, 2013 and stuff like that, there were other teams that were trying to load up, but it's just the Spurs was getting there, and stuff like that. And then fast forward to what happened just in the bubble. He wins, and I don't want to hear AD came there. That's one player that came there. And then even after the championship season, you add Trez, you add Schroeder. That's not adding Harden. That's not adding Kyrie or KD. That's not the same. Wait, those are the same players?
Here we go.
Now, granted, that's all I'm saying. KD saw an opportunity. Okay, I can go play with Kyrie. Okay, that's cool.
Oh, my God.
Adding the Hardens of the world.
They traded their whole future for Harden. That's not the same as signing somebody.
What I'm saying is, but they're still acquiring, though. KD didn't sign off on getting Harden.
Bron just acquired
one player.
He acquired AD
Wesley
2 years ago.
Matthews?
What you mean? You
and
just
Marc
said he got
Gasol?
Montrezl Harrell and Dennis Schroeder, who was both in the Sixth Man of the Year running.
James Harden and KD are different than Montrezl Harrell and Dennis Schroeder.
They traded Karis LeVert.
Kane and I are going to take the rest of the segment off.
I mean, I got you.
And this is a different situation than KD with the Warriors. This is a different situation. This is not the same situation.
It's different how the team was structured, but it's the same
We're talking about KD
goal.
Jumping ship and going to an established team versus this time they're collecting pieces of other man's trash as another man's treasure. Blake Griffin is trash.
I know, but as I said earlier, Blake Griffin is going to be a minimal, if not marginal, when it comes to his impact. He'll have a little
So you
impact.
can't compare this to the same as what he did with the Warriors. It's two separate situations.
Gaining a player like Harden is a top 5
It's
player.
not a gain. That wasn't a gain. It was a trade.
No, what I'm saying is you still got him, though. However you acquired him, that matters.
A lot of depth. You lost your Sixth Man of the Year.
But they're still going to make it to the
Spencer
finals,
Dinwiddie's
though.
not playing. That's not a fact. Joel Embiid's in the MVP conversation. That's
I'm
not a
not
fact.
saying that's 100%.
KD, they ain't even letting KD
You
hoop.
trust Ben Simmons?
They not letting KD hoop.
You trust Ben Simmons over
not
who
letting
on the
KD hoop.
Nets?
They not letting KD hoop.
No, I'm not agreeing with that.
I'm not asking you to agree.
What I'm saying is that when it comes down to it, I'm saying that if you think that Ben Simmons is going, I'm not saying that Joel Embiid's not going to be a problem. What I'm saying is that 99% of me thinks that they will make it to the finals.
How can you say that Bron's the only one who convinces other teams to add players when Bron did that after he lost?
Oh,
Everybody adds after you lose.
the plot thickens.
What I'm saying is that when Bron did that, I'm saying it was in response to what the big three in Boston did. LeBron and the Lakers, they had acquired one superstar. So what you're telling me is if they would have acquired, let's say, Kyrie last offseason as opposed to Kyrie signing with the Nets, then I would say that's the same thing. But it's different because it was one superstar. KD signed off on getting Harden.
I would say it's the same thing if you're talking about the Miami Heat acquiring James Harden, a team that Bron actually knocked out. If it was the Denver Nuggets acquiring a James Harden, if it was a team that he actually directly knocked out, responding to what he's done, then you would have a point.
Do the Nets acquire James Harden if AD and LeBron do not win last year? I don't know. And I really don't think they do.
If they have an opportunity to, why not? How do you know that?
I mean, we could disagree on that. I don't know that as a fact. What I'm saying is what the trend and what we have seen.
They might have had. What if Kawhi won last year? They might have still felt they needed that.
No, that's also true, but we know who PG is.
Oh,
yeah, but that's a different conversation. I'm saying
PG's not better than Harden.
Anybody could have won. It doesn't matter who won. As long as the Nets didn't win, they was gonna try to get better.
I understand that. I honestly don't think they try to.
Because the Nets wasn't even in it last year, so we don't know what they potential.
So what it'll take if they say they get Drummond? Would that make you lean on that side? Okay, I mean, shit. I mean, because you say because people.
That's not what I'm saying.
No, but people
you're taking it elsewhere. I'm not saying that.
People have said that.
I'm not saying that.
No, people have said that in the past that Bron stacks teams when that's not true. he has made a lot of role players better look like than what they did with Bron than without Bron. I can't say the same for KD. He's never lifted up a role player. So why do you think he felt like he needed Harden to try to at least guarantee to get to the finals? And that's a fact. None of those players have ever made role players better. So they felt like they needed more, which is cool. I'm just saying that's usually what KD's situation has looked like.
I mean, that was a long cycle. You got to something at that part, but that wasn't what I was talking about. I get that part of it. Cool. That's cool. If you saying that, like, with Karis LeVert, he wasn't going to be able to elevate him, so he felt like, fuck it, trade him for a star. I can see that. That's cool. But that's not what we were starting at.
I'm saying they didn't have to trade Karis LeVert, though, for Harden. They could have kept it as is as they did. But they were the only team that were going to take him at that point, because as the Rockets said, they called Boston. Boston wasn't going to give up Jalen or Marcus Smart and all them and Kembas. They called up other teams to try to. The Rockets called 3-4 teams. But there were teams that wouldn't. So the Nets at that point were the last team to trade up everybody for him.
That's cool. I'm with that. All I'm saying is Bron not the only person who, when he win, other teams try to get better.
Okay, that's cool.
We agree to disagree. That's the beauty of this podcast, man.
I think KD, we've never disagreed on that.
Yeah.
In conversation off record, we've said that about KD.
Real quick,
I ain't even get to speak on Blake weak ass.
So we don't need to.
Real quick, what do you think? Minimal impact, zero impact, big impact?
Minimal. I mean, he played 38 games in the last 2 years. You know, he shot 34% last year. He's shooting 35 this year. That's not 3-point. That's field goal.
Well, it's my point.
All right.
Offensively, help a little bit. But
real quick before we move on to this whole Myers-Leonard thing, because it's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, if the Nets don't get to the finals and they do what the Clippers did, is it worse than what the Clippers did, or is it they're going to get a pass? How do you judge it out?
It depends on
who beats them.
It depends on who beats them and how they go about losing. The Clippers were up 3-1 and lost. It depends on
the Nuggets are better than any team last year. The Nuggets are better than any team in the East right now. That I think
there's multiple ways to lose. It depends on who knocks them out, if they get knocked out, and how they go about losing. If they're up 3-1 with a roster like that,
they're not losing.
Yeah, they not. I mean, it depends on how they go about losing.
It's gonna break the internet. All right.